Ahoy there, me hearties, and welcome to the Assembly Line Podcast. I be Chris Torrance. Today we're going into the Captain's Quarters Bulletin Board System. Arr! Todd Holcomb recently revived his Captain's Quarters BBS from its watery grave and has been running it on an Apple II GS using the Warp 6 BBS software, and he's got it hooked up to a Raspberry Pi to communicate to the outside world. He's been doing great things on his BBS, including hosting games, lots of old text files, and more recently, he's been running a series of trivia contests. The most recent one is for participants of the Nox Archaeus Kickstarter, and if you answer enough questions correctly, you get to name an NPC in the Captain's Quarters pub within the Nox Archaeus game itself. So let's head on over to the Captain's Quarters and see how we can hook it up to a real Apple IIe. If you do a search for Captain's Quarters BBS and Nox Archaeus, you'll find the post that Todd Holcomb did a few days ago about the contest. And in there, he talks about a lot of different ways that you can actually hook up to his BBS. Obviously, the easiest one is to use modern hardware. And to do that, you can just use the web. So, for example, if you head on over to telnetbbsguide.com, you can actually just launch directly into Captain's Quarters from within the web by just clicking the Connect button. Another way to do it is just if you have a Telnet client on your computer, either your Mac or PC, then you can just telnet to cqbbs.ddns.net at port 6502. If you don't have Telnet on your Mac, you can use Brew to install it. You can also get to the BBS from within the Micro M8 emulator on your computer, and this is by the people from the Paleotronic magazine. So this is April and Melody. So if you just fire up Micro M8, then once it starts up, you can go under the main menu and then just choose Applications, and you want Dial BBSs. And once that starts up, Pro Term, you can just type ATDT69, and this is just a shortcut to get to the Captain's Quarters BBS. However, we really want to use the Captain's Quarters on a real Apple IIe. There's a couple different options. You can use the Wii Modem 232, and this is just a product that you can get that plugs into any RS-232 port. So for example, if you had a Super Serial card. Another way to do it is to actually use the Ethernet 2 card, and to do this you can use the Telnet 65 program from Oliver Schmidt. And for that you can just go to the IP65 repository on GitHub and then just hit releases, and you can download ip65-apple2.zip. The only complication with this is it's hard-coded to slot number 4, and you have to actually go in and hack the binary to get it to work in another slot. I actually have hacked mine to work in slot 1, and I'll go ahead and I'll post that disk image on the Internet Archive and put a link in the show notes. So let's go ahead and we'll fire up the Telnet 65 program on my Apple IIe and see if we can get connected. On the IP65 disk by Oliver Schmidt, we want to run the Telnet 65 program. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at the program so you know what to modify in case your Ethernet 2 is in a different slot. If we load up the program and do call -151 to get into the monitor, the program starts at 803, and the fourth byte here controls which slot the Ethernet 2 is in. I've changed it on my disk from 04 to 01. You may need to do the same thing on your disk if you have it in a different slot. But for now, let's go ahead and just run the program. Okay, so the host name that we want to use is cqbbs.ddns.net. And the port number is 6502. And once we've done that, we should be into the captain's quarters. So there we go. So my ID is CT6502. All right, and here we are inside the BBS. Happy Thanksgiving. One letter waiting. Sure, let's read that. From the system operator, old school here, post some messages, read one of the thousands of Apple II related text files, downloaded the latest wares. Let's go and hit the question mark for the menu. There's all the different things we can do on here. We can read the forums, we can play some games. Here's the Masters of Trivia. We can read about Captain's Quarters and then go into all of the text files as well as email people and change our preferences. So let's just real quick read about Captain's Quarters. This tells all about how the BBS was revived about a year ago, and it was inspired by Mike Whalen's article in Juice.gs about getting back into BBSs. So let's go and see what kind of games we have. We'll hit G for that. And here we have a whole bunch of different games that we can play on the BBS. The fun one for me at least is Oregon Trail. So if we bring that one up, then this just launches into actually my version of Oregon Trail that I reprogrammed a few years ago so it would work properly on the Apple IIe. And if we start that, we can go ahead and play that. Aww. Let's go look at the forums and see what's on there. So we'll hit F for that. Open which forum? Question mark for list. Oops. General Apple II retro computing. Let's go to Apple II here. See what kind of text files we have here. Wow, look at all these. Let's see, cracks and cheats. Let's go and look at that. Oh, this is amazing. All right, let's go ahead and we'll go to the Masters of Trivia by hitting M. So on here, we can play trivia games and then attempt to win the Name an NPC contest. So here's all the different people have played recently or in the past year or so. Here's all the different trivia games that we can try. Let's see. Well, here's Nox Archaeus, so let's go ahead and we'll hit 6 and see, do I want to see the previous question with this answer? Sure. What's the name of the lead developer of Nox Archaeus? Okay, that's pretty easy. Let's see. Current trivia question. What is the name of the world Nox Archaeus takes place in? So the world is named Vali. What? Oh, let's see. V-A-L-I. All right. All right, let's try a Star Wars question. No, let's see. We'll try. What is the average lifespan of a Wookiee? Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't guess again until tomorrow. All right, well, let's see what other questions we have here. So, sure, on computers, what's the last model of the Compaq Max? The Mac Color Classic. All right. This was the first computer company to use Winchester hard drives in their PC. Okay, wow, look at all those different guesses. I've already registered to win those, so I can't actually play again. I hope you enjoyed this tour of the Captain's Quarters BBS. I'll have links in the show notes for where you can download the software as well as the Telnet address. There's still time to enter the contest to name an NPC for Nox Archaeus. So go ahead and log on to Captain's Quarters and give it a try. Thanks for watching.